Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Sewer Commissioners, October 14th, 6:30. I have a roll call,
Sandy Slavin.
Donna Bronk.
Peter Dunlop.
and Jim Gibberti. Okay, we have no minutes from the previous meeting.
I believe we're missing minutes from August 12th and September 23rd. Unless I'm not seeing something. Anybody else's note indicate any minutes approved? Those,
I don't. I'll go by that.
August 12th and September 23rd?
well, you had a meeting August 26th and September 9th? I will look to see if I have anything on those two meeting dates of,
Was it, neither of those was postponed, was it canceled for lack of quorum? I don't remember what dates were. Okay, what we have in our packet is the 2021 meeting dates, so that covers the rest of this month and November and December. If you'll notice, in November, we have no meeting on the 25th, unless somebody wants to bring a turkey and we'll all get together.
By now.
Yeah, exactly.
May not be turkeys when you're ready for them.
Gonna have to catch them on the side of the road.
By the selectmen.
And for December, the December 9th date is changed to the 2nd and the 16th, and we'll be in room 27 instead of the 9th and the 23rd.
so we'll have only one meeting in December on December 16th?
No, we'll have two meetings in December, one on the 2nd.
I'm sorry.
I'm not seeing that.
You said December 9th
It's on the
Okay.
list.
and
It's on the
changed to
list.
December 9th and December 20...
December 9th is changed to December 2nd,
Oh, that's not what the document says.
and December, are you sure you got the right one?
It's on my document.
The 21?
No, it's
You got 22 there also.
either.
Yeah, you're looking at 22. Look at 21.
I'm looking at 21. It says December 9th. It's changed to December 9th. December 23rd
mine
is
says,
changed to
too.
the 16th.
Oh, mine
That's what
says,
mine says
okay.
too.
Mine says change to the 2nd and December 16th.
Then we
Right.
got different information in our packets?
Well, is that handwritten?
Yes?
Yes, mine's handwritten too, so maybe she handwritten all and made mistakes on a couple and not.
No, this is what mine says.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah, so it should be 9th to the 2nd.
December 2nd
There's nothing here on... you
and the
don't-
16th.
You don't have December 2nd? Oh, yeah, you do. See, I don't have that here.
Okay, December 2nd and December 16th.
All right, December 2nd.
And both will be in 27?
Affirmative.
Because the school's in here.
I guess so. In November 25th, there is no meeting.
Okay.
We do have one on the 11th,
Okay.
and that's in here, this room. Okay. And for the 2022, the only changes to the meeting list is the 24th, there will be no meeting again, because that's Thanksgiving or thereabouts. And the December 22nd meeting will be changed to the 29th.
You think it's really necessary that we have two in December?
Well, we'll see where we are when we get to next December and go from there. We can always drop one.
I'm not worried about it. Huh?
Yeah, well, that's the point. And this way it gives Patty coverage so she knows what's going on. Next, we have discussion from Frank's Way. That has been addressed. They are going to the water department to get clarification on where they stand on that. And if they can come back to us with proof that it has been shut off for over a year, then we can relook at abatement situation. Okay. Then we have 386 to 388 Main Street. Guy, can you
Mr. Chairman,
let us know what's going on there?
I'm suggesting no action. I really haven't had a chance to vet this. I know he said he bought the property in February 2021. It was bought at auction. I'm not sure if it was a bank auction or a town auction. I need to find out. He has a bill here, which I'm assuming he has not paid. And I want to make sure that he's met the timeline to apply for abatement after so many days after the bill is due or previous to being done. So I'm asking that we table this until I get more information. At this time, I can't make a decision one way or the other.
Do I have a motion on that?
So you're saying they owe us $2,500?
I'm sorry?
This bill says they owe us $2,500?
No, they paid that bill, as I understand. I think they did.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, pay by phone.
what are they looking for?
So mill date
that
was
was paid.
8/21. Due date was 8/21. So they bought it in February 21. There's a year anyways. And that put it to February 2022, so I can't act upon it. So I want to go through it and clear it, make sure that what's
Do I
really
have a
happening.
motion for tabling this?
I make a motion that we table the abatement application for 386 and 388 Main Street until we have more information.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that an aye, Sandy?
Yes.
400,
Aye.
400, okay. I can, well, I got updates from the superintendent there, but why don't we just do your report? We'll cover that updates at the same time.
What's that?
I said, the next item on the agenda is updates from the superintendent, but then we've got your superintendent's report, so why don't we just combine it as to one item?
So I'm not so sure exactly the updates. It's budget time. And the projects that we're talking about that need to be done, we have to decide as to if we're going to finance them through our cash flow, which is our rates, or if we're going to borrow, which is bonding. But we have to do one or the other. All the projects we've done in the past, and the $9 million we're doing now, et cetera, has come out of the budget. And we've used all our surplus income in the budget, so the budget is tapped, and any more projects we move forward, we're not getting out of the budget unless we increase rates or we borrow money. We have one Kinko coming up, we've got the lining coming up, so these are all coming up. We've got Heinz Field that we have to line. And so all the projects that we have and talked about moving forward, the question becomes is, how do we pay for them? And I know that nobody has an appetite for raising rates. Inflation this year has been horrendous. I'm trying to put the numbers together for you. So that's a concern. It's a major concern for me. So we have to do the projects. We can't say, well, we're not doing them. And then we have to decide if we want to raise the rates substantially and not raise them for a few years, or raise them annually. What do we really want to do? Because we have to capture these funds. And either we capture these funds out of budget or we capture them out of borrowing.
Guy, do we currently have any loans or bonds outstanding?
I have $3 million worth,
How much?
$3 million.
So, and when was that borrowed?
Well, so they've been borrowed for years. Recently, we borrowed 1.1, I believe, 1.6, I believe, for the basins, and now we're in the middle of a $9 million.
So we have borrowed funds, and we are paying the interest and principal on those now.
Correct.
And that payment is coming out of your budget,
That is correct.
off the capital line.
That is correct. It's coming out of our budget. So, and then even the loan we did because we didn't want to raise rates, and we have to be careful of tapping into our reserves. We can use our reserves for any project, and if we use our reserves, then if we have something come up that we need reserves, they'll be unavailable. And we also have to keep reserves in the event of, let's say 1 year nobody pays their bill. We're still obligated to pay our bills. So where does that money come from? So reserves is another reason that we keep money in reserves in the event of, because government, we spend money previous to collecting it. So we're assuming that everybody's going to pay their bills. Well, you know, we've been fortunate. We've done about 92% of the bills that we put out, we collect. And there's other revenues because we can go after them on their taxes. Eventually we'll get the money. But the question becomes is when are we going to get it, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, how much are we paying per year for interest and principal on the existing loans?
I don't have it in front of me. If you come by, or I can send you the actual debt chart through 2034, and you can see yourself. It's there.
You
Right
have
now,
it, or
we're
does
paying.
Mr. Foster have it?
Mr. Foster sent it to me. We had conversation today. So when I'm writing the 2023 budget, I believe, or one fiscal ahead, and that's a $3 million debt. However, 1.5 or 1.6 is paid for through betterments, right? That's better debt,
Yep.
so that's paid for. The non-better debt is what we have to pay for out of the budget, and that's like 1.8 or 1.9. And so that includes the 9 million, the 1 million, 1.6 million, and other debts, pump stations and things we've done probably since 1990
Still
something.
outstanding debts?
Absolutely.
Still outstanding, okay.
Absolutely. So we have to be cognizant of that. And the two most recent debts we have, we took out of our cash flow, if you will, our budget, and so we're tapped out. So now we're going to write a budget for 2022, 2023, I believe it is, and have to decide how I'm going to pay for these projects that we got coming forward.
Your budget for 2022, how much was your capital line for?
I think it was less than 300,000 because
So we never put enough, was there enough money in the 22 budget to pay the principal and interest on our existing loans?
we just cleared it.
Okay,
Yes.
so there was nothing left over for any equipment or anything like that?
No, we're done.
Is it typical of $300,000 capital budget?
It's a good question. We've actually had $1 million, over $1 million each year to spend on capital items.
But we didn't do it in '22.
We used the money because it was 600 and something thousand dollars for the new loan, for the $9 million loan.
Okay, so that's...
So
okay.
we've tapped it, and the year before that, I think it was 200,000, I think get them 200,000 a year for the 1.6 million, and we decided not to raise rates. So we took it out of that money, so the rates didn't go up. So now it's like kicking the can down the road. Someday it comes due. So here we are. So we're going to spend roughly, let's say, for ballpark numbers, it's going to be about $3 million for the lining, about $2.6 million for one Kinko, about $2.2 million for Narrows, for Hines, and then other projects we have. If we move forward with the West Wareham project, I don't want to talk about that. But the point is either we have to raise rates to pay for these, or we take them out of our retained and wipe it out.
Or we borrow the money.
Or we borrow the
At
money.
a very low interest rate.
Right.
The interest rate is so low, we're probably should be borrowing and keeping a level borrowing fund for the future as we close off one, replace it and keep it going. I mean, that's what the town tries to do, is keep their borrowing.
No, I agree with you 100%, and that was my discussion for the past 5 years, is that we should never be without debt, never. And when I got here, it was $3.5 million, and now it's 2 so yeah, you're right. So I have to look at that. So I asked Mr. Foster, we can sit down, because what I have to figure out is how much I can borrow with money, with a specific amount of money. So right now, we owe 1.8 in non-better debt. I want to raise that to 3.5. What is that number? What can I borrow with it? Make some decisions. And we talk about, when capital plans, we need a 5-year plan, or my CIP is for 10-year plan. How do we fund that? Because these are realistic numbers. We have a headworks that we need to replace. That's only $14 to $20 million. We have clarifiers we need to buy. All this is within the next 5 to 10 years. And so we have to think about how we're going to get that money. And we can only debt so high. And then so rates has to make up the difference. So the hard question becomes is, what do we really want to do? I was fortunate enough to do a seminar the last few days out of central United States, taught out of Florida, and I'm seeing different, and I'm talking to people all over the country, I see people raising their rates 40% and nothing for 3 to 4 years. I see people raising them 22% annually. No one has not raised their rates, and no one has raised it less than 18%.
When did we last raise our rates?
I was just going to ask you that.
A couple years ago, I believe it was.
Was it 2 years ago?
I believe
Yeah,
it
about
was.
2 years ago.
And it was minimal, right? $20. Do the math. That's not even
20
2%.
for
2%, yeah.
For the whole year, or 40 for the year?
I believe it was
40 for the year.
maybe 40. It went up to. Wait a minute. Yeah, you're probably right, because
40 for the
it
year.
was 626 and went to 646, I believe. I think it's rates are. So you do the
More than
math.
2 years ago?
I
Yep.
believe so. I don't remember being last year, and it
It
could have
wasn't
been.
last year, it was
I don't
2
remember
years
being
ago.
last year, but I'm going to suggest 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago, because last year we weren't meeting like this, 2 years ago we were, so.
Inflation this year is 6%. I got products that are raising more than that. I got products that are raised 20%. Shipping has gone out of sight.
You're lucky if you can get product.
Yeah, tell me about it. And when you do get it, your shipping is out of sight. How do I recover? And what is my projection for next year? I have no idea. Everybody says that, we're going to be happy, we're going to be fine, kumbaya, the problem's going to go away. I don't buy it. I think the problem of getting goods and services, the problem of staffing, these are continuing problems, and how do we budget for them? What do we do? And these are real issues, because I have to pay the bill no matter what. I have to pay it, and I got to try to figure out how to project what those costs are going to be, because they got to come out of the rates. So that's where I am with it. So I think it's something we need to discuss in greater detail. I want to introduce it. I'll get you the debt schedule. I'll get you a copy. I always do a historical 4-year of what we've expended, actuality for O&M, and debt service. I'll do some projections. I'll get you the actual inflationary number we had from this year, and we'll go from there. But we've got some hard decisions to make. But, historically.
When we last raised the rate, didn't we say an X% had to be put aside for capital, and was that done?
It was. It went into the other side. We've
But we don't
expended it
know,
all.
we don't know what that amount is.
No, but the amount was minimal, $100,000. I don't know, I could put that anywhere, $100,000.
It wasn't much.
We spent $9 million, and then we
Yeah.
spent about $11 million. So what did $100,000 do for us? I don't know.
Well, until we get the numbers, and I'm not prepared to
I'm not either.
vote on an increase right now, but
I'm not suggesting it.
people can't even feed their families,
I-
go to
I-
the supermarket. What are we gonna do?
Well-
I don't know what the answer is.
I don't either. See, here's the thing. I have to pay my bills. I
Yeah?
have to pay my help, and they're set. My electricity, et cetera, those are fixed costs. I can't say, hey, people can't feed their families, I'm not raising rates, I'm not paying the bill. I don't have that option. I don't have that
For
option.
example, look at, last month's electric rate bill.
Have you seen them?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, I just paid it today.
50 grand.
Okay?
And you look at our disposal rate that we're paying now, or the dollars that we're paying, I won't say the rate, but the
And
dollars
that's going
that we're
up.
paying is
Trash is going
already,
up now,
is
too?
higher now
Sludge
by,
disposal. Gosh,
I'm gonna say 20%, 25%
All of
over
that.
what it was previously that I've signed for.
all of that.
I mean, it's gone up
It's across the
dramatically.
board. I don't know.
Not to worry, folks. Social Security's gonna give you 5.6%.
6.9.
January
6.9.
28th, 2021, we raised the rates.
21, right?
January 28th, 2021, we raised the rates from 626 to 646. It was a 3% increase.
So it's a year.
So,
So I knew it wasn't a couple of years. I knew.
No.
No, I thought it was.
I'm sorry, this is
Less than a year.
less than a year, we raised the rates.
Would you say 3%?
It said, yeah, 626 to 646
Right.
is a 3% increase, January 28th, 2021. So we just did it.
Would you say January 6th? What was the date?
January 28th,
28th.
2021. It's 10 months.
And in 10 months, the economy's gone nuts, so now we have to prepare for it. You know, and I don't have all the answers, but 3% isn't going to cover nothing. It's not going to cover my electrical increase, not going to cover my sludge increase, not going to cover my increase of personnel, not going to cover my increase of insurance, not going to cover, I mean, it's not going to cover any of these increases.
Understand.
That's all I'm saying, it's not going to cover it.
What is going to cover it?
I don't know, I'm trying to put a number together. I really am.
I don't think we're gonna be able to get what, I mean, how do you budget what's happening now? I mean, and
How do you budget when milk, you know milk's going to be double, do you not stop buying milk? How do you budget it? You figure it out. And you're right, those on fixed incomes, you have a fixed income, well, it makes it much more difficult and sacrifices have to be made. But when you're taking your base rate and you're doing your basic obligations for a utility, it has to be covered by rates. And I don't know the answer, it's not easy, but rates are going to be substantial. It's going to be more than 3%.
And we're still not doing anything off of water consumption.
Well, water consumption is tricky too, and
Well,
I hear what you're saying,
but-
it's tricky too, but
Even considering it, there's going to be the people, well, where in the world are we a pay by rate, pay by usage, and we're not there yet. So there you go. So we just raised the rate.
well, I just wanted to bring it because everything we've done has been trying to catch up for everything we haven't done. We haven't raised the rates with any degree of consistency or substantiality for the past 20 years, 12 since I've been here. And so it's catching up with us. And
okay.
what do we do now? I think I've raised, since I've been here 12 years, three times that I can think of. Once was $1, once was $3, and then the last one was $20. So that's since I've been here. And inflation is consistently 3%, 4% anyways, maybe more. And this year, inflation is going to be substantial. And so how do we catch up?
well, we don't, I guess we don't buy any more vehicles, we don't do
So we don't-
things
we
that
won't.
we have, but I'm just saying.
I know that, we
I'm
can't.
just saying, we're just gonna you guys are gonna have to tighten your belts like the rest of the, like the rate payers. I mean, I don't know, we just can't put it on the backs of, you know, I believe in a moderate, increase, but
I think when we raised that 3%, I think it was Mac that may have suggested it, that we do that every year. But what you're saying, that's not going to cover it.
It's not going to cover it. So I would, to be frank with you, I'm going to try to put together the financial plan as an example I saw from a financial planner. I don't want to spend $8,000, $10,000 on a financial planner that'll run the model for these numbers consistently. Same thing, I watched, 2 days trying to set rates. And everybody says, well, just set the rates. Rates is not an easy thing to set with water, because it has to be defendable legally, it has to be equitable across all users, and it's not just, we'll pick a number, be happy, we're good. A little more than that goes into it. So for me, I gotta do it with EDUs and try to figure an equitable way. I don't know how I can say Mrs. Jones uses 20 gallons of water, basically, and a business uses 1 million gallons. I don't have that, I'm trying to figure that out. But the bottom line is we gotta raise more revenue. It's as simple as that. We have to raise more revenues, and how do we raise those more revenues? And what's that number going to be? It's not pleasant, it's not nice, and I don't like it, but that's the bottom line. Our employees, you say tighten our belts. Well, yeah, we had the lowest paid laborers in the town of Wareham, so we'll tighten a little bit more, we'll pay them less.
And we
that's-
lose them all.
And we lose them, we can't pay them. So we can't tighten there anymore. We're not buying anything other than what we've been budgeted to, but we stopped buying things. Heck, our repairs, we're trying to be frugal. We stopped taking it from to the outside, bring it to the inside, which takes weeks to get fixed because they're understaffed and overworked. So yeah, we're trying our very hardest, but the reality is it's not going to get us where we need to be.
Well, who's the fellow that they hired that's working, that's getting paid out of the sewer department that we never see or anything, but isn't there a fellow in the town hall that works for the sewer department?
He does, we're budgeting, he makes good money. He makes more than any of my workers for the most
He never
part,
was here before,
for a day a week.
so I don't understand. I don't
I
understand.
don't either.
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I don't understand. We're paying these high-priced salary, and he doesn't even work at the sewer plant, but he's working here in the main office, in the town hall rather, and you know.
Do you know his name?
I don't even know his name. He's
Or
the
how long-
guy.
what does he do for us?
He's the guy that came from Bourne that they got rid of.
He works for Derek. He's something to do with sewer. I got to be honest.
I think we should,
He's okay. I haven't even seen the contract. Have you seen the contract?
we wouldn't.
Well, with contract you should because you're paying the contract.
Are
We
we?
didn't sign the contract.
He's a
It didn't come
contractor.
through
All
here.
right, Jimmy, are you seeing it on the warrants? So we
No.
you haven't seen it being paid,
Oh, yes, I've seen it being paid,
so it's on the
but
warrants.
I don't have the contract. I was just making a note on that to contact Derek to,
Or Doreen.
yeah.
Somebody, I mean,
I got,
Right there.
somebody signed a contract
beginning of the
to use our
week.
money.
The beginning of the week, I'll go in and get at least try to get a hold of a contract and find out what it is and get it to everybody. See where we're going with this.
You know,
How we voted to stop paying him?
No.
you know, I'm not going to go on. I just think that I'm adamant and I am not going to vote for anything over a 3%. It's just not fair and it's not right.
The 3% isn't gonna cut.
Well, I don't, you know what?
I can't shut off electricity.
Let them,
Cannot set up, I cannot stop buying chemicals, which is chemicals, I'm going to tell you the chemical story. I can't stop chemicals because there's a treatment. I have a permit I'm obligated to. And I can't tell the federal government that I'm not going to follow a permit because I'm not paying for it and I'm going to get the funds. I can't tell the DEP, I'd like to do that, but I don't have the funds. That's not an option for me. It's not an option.
Oh,
And you can't say you're not going to dispose of the sludge.
And I can't say because I don't have those options. I get where you're coming from, I understand the concern, and my God, I think we all do, but I don't have that option. I don't have the option to say, not doing it. I just don't have that option.
well,
You know, we're working at it, I mean, we're running lean as we can now, we're lean,
Is
we're
an
lean.
When was the last time we had an increase in septic disposal?
We can look at that too, we've had it probably, it's been a little bit. We can look at increasing that number. And septic in
We've got
Greece.
a lot going in there. I mean, there's,
Last year, we did $1 million. And we're on pace to do a little more than that this year. That $1 million goes into our budget. And so, you know, we utilize those funds to help offset what you're talking about for the consumer. Now, that's a lot of work to make that revenue. And many departments within the community, there's a couple that generate revenue, like the ambulance, I would suggest, is one. I'm not sure who else. But we generate $1 million a year in revenue beyond the ratepayers.
You say you had an awful lot last month. How
sorry.
many gallons roughly?
Of what? Oh, I don't know. So SEPTA's probably doing about 50,000 gallons a day, Greece about 20,000 gallons a day.
20,000?
Yes, of grease a day and 50,000 of septors, and that's our max. We push it some days, but we're really laboring the plant to get it done, and we are.
What are you charging a gallon?
We raised it to 14 cents a gallon for grease, and septage is average of 10 cents a gallon.
maybe we need to raise those prices.
And can we still hold at 11 cents a gallon for processing?
Yeah, we can raise the rates.
No, I'm saying, can you still stick with that number? I mean, so theoretically, we made 3 cents a gallon.
So your question is, what does it cost us to process what we get in?
Yeah, you used to say 11.
Probably combined, so I have to look at that again. It may be 11 combined, 14 and 20 is 34. I'd have to look at the numbers again. I don't remember it. I have to get that for you, so.
So roughly, we made 3 cents a gallon.
Let's say ballpark, that was what we made,
20,000.
yeah. And I'll have to look at it again, because there's been some changes in processing and different things. It may be a little more. But again, we don't have enough revenue or flow to make a substantial dent in increased revenues. Just to be frank, we can raise the rates, and I would. I suggest we raise sewer and grease rates, absolutely.
Well, whatever we raise the ratepayers, we have to raise the haulers.
No, I think we should raise the haulers, absolutely. That's a cost, that's a,
What do the other local towns charge their haulers right now?
I can get that number. It used to be between 8 cents and 17, 18 cents, so we're in the ballpark.
At some places are as low as 8 cents?
Yes, correct. Some places, New Bedford's 5.5 cents.
Okay, but that's quite a haul.
I get it. So we thought 10 cents was fair.
What's Bourne?
Bourne doesn't take it, they bring it to us.
Even from the other side of the bridge?
Yeah, and everything from Bourne comes to us, and it's a little perplexing to me because the IMA, we don't have one now. We're paying, it's a flat fee of 400
Do we
bucks
give
plus.
them any sort of a shake?
I haven't given them any shake. They want one, but I haven't given them one.
Can't afford it.
I can't give them a shake. So anyway,
If I remember right, Guy, they're paying 2 cents a gallon more than what we're charging now. If we're charging 14, they're paying 16 for anything out of Bourne, is that correct?
No, they're paying the same thing. We're supposed to give them back 2 cents per gallon.
But we were supposed to be charging 2 cents more per gallon.
That was the 10 cents. That was years ago. Nothing's changed. That whole negotiation, there is no negotiation, there's
Right.
old numbers, so there's, we were paying them, in my opinion, we're paying them out of our pocket, so, because at one time it was 8 cents for Wareham residents, 10 cents for Bourne.
Right,
We give them back 2
too.
cents,
So it was
and everybody's paying 10 cents, so I can't afford to give them back any money. And it's not equitable, because you look at the cost, so here's the deal. The cost of treatment for us, the costs are going up. I can't pass it on to Bourne, because they set a flat fee. That's their rate, flat fee, for whatever they say, it's a flat fee. So, and then we can go up 1.5% annually, I believe it is. I'll look at it again. But that doesn't meet the numbers. It makes no sense at all. So we got to get back to the table. But why I'm bringing this all up is we have to start thinking and looking and make some hard decisions. I'll put together some information to get it to everybody so we can look at it. And we're going to have to make some hard decisions is what we're going to do. But the bottom line is rates are going to have to be raised. I don't know what that number is. I believe it's going to be more than 3%. We'll probably raise fees. We've already just raised, we've hit them hard for general fees and licenses, and that number was substantially high. We doubled it. So I don't know if we can go there again. There's no other charges, capacity charges. Do we look at, we talked about anytime somebody connects to the sewer, do we charge them a charge for I&I? I mean, I can look at all these things, there's numbers. I can look at some of these fees that we may be able to add to connections, new connections. But
total, that's not a lot of money.
no, it's
Will
not.
not be a lot of
No,
money.
it's not. It's
That's
minimal.
that's all nickel dime stuff.
It's minimal. The rates, our biggest revenue generator is rates. That's our biggest, and that's what we have to go after, our rates. So it's pretty straightforward stuff. I know it's not pleasant, it's not palatable, it's not politically correct, but it's reality of business. It's reality of in today's day and age. And I'm not blaming it, 'cause it's not your fault that the can was kicked for the last, in my tenure, 10 years, nobody wanted to raise the rates because it was not politically sound to raise rates. I'm not blaming, it's not your fault, but we have to accept the responsibility of what's going on today, unpleasant or pleasant. So we'll leave it at that. I'll bring it up next meeting. I'll try to get things to you beforehand so you can look at it and read it and get some ideas, and we can have a healthy discussion on the best way to approach it, because I'm beginning to write my budget for 2023. That's all there. Moving on to another subject, something interesting that's bothering me a little bit. In the papers, I don't have it with me, but in the newspaper, there was an article that the town of Bourne's treatment plant went offline because the bacteria was killed by some toxic agent. And the answer was, we just shipped it to Wareham. So they took their plant offline and shipped it to us. My question is what is that toxic agent that was killing their plant that they decided to send to us? No one called us. No one told us that they were making that move. No one's called us from Bourne to say, hey, we've got this toxic that we're going to ship to you. Can you handle it?
So
Can you be prepared for it?
Could very well kill our bacteria.
Well, bacteria is bacteria, absolutely.
What's the status of the meter we were putting in?
We're getting ready to put that in. There was a backlog from yes, but it was 3 months ago. The backlog from the people putting it in, they're having the same issues, getting meters, getting help. They're backlogged, and they're getting ready to put it in. We've been pushing them, bugging them, yelling at them.
So it's coming in soon.
It's coming in soon, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, real soon. Within a month, I would suggest. Gosh, I ordered a pipe cleaner February. I haven't seen it yet. They said maybe October. Maybe. It's October. Well, maybe November. So that's real.
But this meter is more important.
It's critically important.
Well, especially with what you've just said. I mean, it was...
I want a sample. I was talking to Russ about putting a sample. Their pipe comes at us. I like to draw samples so I can test
Do you know that
it.
they sent us everything?
Or did you just read it in the paper?
The paper. I talked to the Weston Sampson operates it. I've asked them to get back to me as far as what the actualities are. But
If they sent us everything and we know what they normally treat, they get the bill, period.
Well, I want to look at it. This is an issue that bothers me. First of all, I feel slighted because we weren't notified of an issue and something that's toxic going to be coming at us. It's something that we've been getting all along because we've had settling issues. So I've got a lot of questions for the town of Bourne. The gentleman that made the statement in the paper is the actual chief operator at that plant. And
Can
he
you
works
reach
for
out
Weston
to him?
Sampson. I reached out to his boss. I reached out to his boss. I think that for me would be because I don't know what he's can and cannot say. So I reached out to his boss, and I want some hard answers. A policy has to be written and enforced as to how these things happen and how they're handled. It's all willy-nilly, and it's troubling me immensely. So I'll follow up on it, let you know what's going on, but it's something that I don't think is kosher.
What is our basic cost if we take a sample of whatever's coming in from Bourne, for example, and send it out to have it tested?
Depends what I test for. So if I'm testing for VOCs, organic compounds, $800. If I'm testing for BOD, TSS, minors, a couple $100. So it really comes down to what I'm looking for. Some
You're
tests.
testing for an unknown.
Yeah, so I do a full scale. It could cost me about $1,500.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, because I'm testing for a
My
scale,
guess.
I don't know. I'm scanning VOCs, organic compounds, volatile organic compounds. I'm just going across metals. I'm just going at it.
Yep.
So it'll be $1,500. So, because I don't know
What's that normal time frame turnaround?
for what. Again, a week. If I want it sooner, price goes up. So about a
just
week.
normal
About a
testing.
week is.
About a week.
So at this point, it doesn't make any sense to sample because it's mingled. It happened already, because they're reporting, hey, the plant's offline, well, here's what's going on. It's after the fact, which troubles me more. And I gotta tell you,
Well,
I wouldn't have
isn't it-
known if I hadn't read the
My
paper.
question is now, is it after the fact or is it ongoing?
Well, I want to find out. That's why I want to find out what the chemical is. And I can only get that from them. Because the issue obviously shut the plant down, and the plant is still offline.
Well, wait a minute. Don't we get an X amount of waste from Bourne daily? And if
Oh, we
they
do.
shut their plant down, doesn't that also increase how much we get from them daily?
Makes
And
sense.
wouldn't we have noticed of an increase in the flow?
No. Because,
I mean, the pipe's only so big, so you
Well,
only
the
have so
pipes
much
can ta-
space to through.
No, the pipes can take much more than we're getting.
Oh.
And the problem is, it's all mingled with the plant, so when I meter into the plant, I don't know if it's
So we
I
don't
and I,
know
don't
whether or not they increased the flow to us.
So if the pump station flow increases, I have to decide if it's infiltration, if it's inflow, or is it more flow from Bourne, because they just give us a number. We don't get any metered reports, we get,
Okay.
so that's why putting the meter in the manhole will give us some definitive numbers.
You've got to put pressure
I've
on
got
this
to, I got to
meter.
get it done, to give us definitive numbers.
This has to be expedited.
So we'll know exactly, so we can base, hang our hat on some real numbers. And then we can monitor it, because hell, we may be getting more than we told them. We have no clue. We have no clue. And we've never got a report of a calibrated meter, ever. So for all these years, we don't know what we've been getting. So it's
This-
important.
This meter, when it goes in, will be calibrated.
Because, yes, it'll be calibrated and calibrated regularly, absolutely. It's responsibility of the contractor. We're looking for accuracy. Yes.
So that's in the works. It'll get done as fast as it can get done.
Yeah, I'm pushing now as I can. I push it everything, it's crazy. My load is down. It's been 10 days, maybe Tuesday. It's life. It's the times, it's the times. It's the
You
times.
can't- We've got no control over the delivery and shipment of this stuff. We've got no control over the receipt of the product when they get it. We have no control over them specifically on when they can get their bodies together to come out and do it, so
Shipping's up 25 to 225%.
so you just.
That's what
I
shipping
mean,
is. I gotta
still,
cover that
You push
cost. Mm-hmm.
them to get it done as quickly as possible. It'll be done when it gets done.
It gets done when it gets done. You're absolutely correct. That's the way it is. So that's pretty much what I had. I just wanted to get everybody thinking about where we're going. This, again, as I said in the beginning, I would like to think that this problem goes away in 6 months and everything gets back to normal and we're all happy, but
gonna happen.
I don't see it. And I think we have to prepare for it because we have to pay the costs. It's
Okay,
as simple as that.
Guy,
Go ahead.
for the next meeting, you're gonna have numbers for us on budget
Mm-hmm.
and backup information on stuff.
I'd like to get it to you
Going
in the mail
forward from that
previous.
point, I'm gonna go to the following meeting, which will be the 11th of November. And I'm gonna see if we can have Derek attend that meeting. Is that acceptable to everybody?
How
It's
about
fine
the
with me.
mystery worker?
I'm fine.
Now, because he works for Derek, so let's have Derek here.
Tell Derek to bring him. Ask Derek to
Well,
bring
he's
him.
from, if he's paid out of our budget, why can't we have him here?
Because we'll pay him,
Huh?
because we'll be paying him more.
No, I'm just saying, why, if, he should.
You can
be
have him here if you want to pay him to come.
I don't want to
So
pay him at
if we-
all.
If we
Well,
don't
what I'm
want him at
saying is-
all, we don't pay him at all?
I'm just saying, if you want an additional time
Well,
to
let's
show
see
up for
the,
this.
can we see the contract first before what if sing?
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
want to try to have.
So
for-
until
for-
we know the
That's what I want to
contract.
have for the next meeting. That's why I say the meeting after that,
Yeah,
I would suggest we have Derek here.
so we need, understand what.
So we have some
Yes.
idea what we're talking about. And we need the numbers from Guy on cost and budget.
Cost, well, yeah.
So we have a better idea, when we're questioning him on where we're going with this whole thing.
Will you have these numbers by the 11th?
I'm starting now, so I've
don't
already
want 'em
asked
by
for
the
someone.
11th, I want 'em by the
I've started now,
28th.
so I should have no problem, because I'm looking at historical
Any
numbers.
chance you could get them to us before the 11th?
That's-
Either by email
Jimmy
so
just
that we
said we'd get it for the
I
next,
don't want them for the 11th.
I want it before
I
that,
want
next
them for the
meeting.
28th.
And what I'm going to try to
next
do.
meeting.
I'm going to try to get him to you a few days before the meeting, so you have a chance to read
That's
them.
what I'm getting.
Yeah, I know,
wanna
that's,
have them,
so that's what I'll try to
For the
do.
28th meeting, so we can have a discussion. The discussion on the 11th, if I can get Derek to be here, will be with Derek. And we'll already have the information, so we know what we're discussing. And not try to
All I'm
play
getting
catch
is
up
I'd
at that
like to
point.
see them before the meeting,
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Before the
So you can read them
28th.
and understand them.
or any
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Guy, is the actual rate, is it about $650
$646 a year.
a year?
A year.
A year.
And just so for perspective, compared across the state, we're in the lower half, just
Okay.
for perspective.
Yeah.
It's okay, that's almost what it cost me to have my septic pumped.
And what I also want to say is when CDM did their projections way back, we should be around $9,000 to $1,000 annual for sewer now, and we never got there because we stopped doing rates because it wasn't politically correct. So the numbers it makes perfect sense. What we had, what we bought, what we need to maintain, continue. We never followed through with the original plan that they presented to us. This is how you need to do your rates, and here's what you need to do annually, and here's what you need to get. Those numbers are out there, and we just said it wasn't political, we're not raising them. Do the best you can, good luck. And that's why we have an infrastructure that is falling apart.
Oh, well, they weren't doing anything for years.
So
We all know
that's-
that. They were
that's the
taking
bottom
money.
line.
Guy, do you have any update or any new information or current information on the Chinese plants?
Yes, well,
I'm just curious as to where that's
it's
potential.
actually, what it's morphed into is they can make it smaller or larger. They've morphed entirely. It's more robust, and in this process, it becomes a little more economically sound and feasible. Their numbers are terrific. They've even lowered the numbers. The technology and automation has increased. So,
Have they
yeah,
got
it's,
anything, have they got anything in the ground working yet, other than Plymouth, where they've got the
No,
test?
no. Europe has many, but nothing in
Okay, do
America.
they have any purveyors of their product in this country yet?
No. So
Okay,
the
so
biggest problem
that's
that,
what I'm
yeah,
curious.
you're right, Jim, and the hotspot is the relationship between China and America. And so that's why they had to move their company to America. They've just established an office in New York.
Okay.
They're staff in that office in New York, so they had to become American. So they're jumping through the hoops that the United States government's requiring of them because they're a Chinese company. So once those hoops are, jumped, and one of the things was proprietary of technology, the ability to run the technology, all those things have been ironed out, government level way above me, and so once that's satisfied, then we can move forward and do what
Do
we
you
got
have
to
a
do.
name of the company?
JDL.
JD.
JDL Enterprises.
What's your guesstimate on when that plant would probably be available for
6 months?
usage? Okay.
It'll be available. So technically, I'll give you, technically, the DEP said I can use that technology tomorrow. DEP's
Yeah,
already
I realize
blessed
that. I
it.
realize that they've approved it, but it doesn't do you any good if you can't get it.
So they've got to get through the higher governmental issues, which they feel in 6 months
So
of
you
them
look
all
at, that's probably
solved.
going to be about a 6-month
They're all solved, then we can move
Game.
forward. But that's
Once
going to
they-
be,
Yeah, but once they get that game solved, then they've still got to get somebody to be able to physically go to site A and dig the hole and have the product to be able to stick in the ground.
so that part is going to be on us. They'll supply the piece of equipment, they'll install it or help us install it, they'll get it operational, they give you 1 year of service, 1 year of making sure it works. But there's a previous, which is going to be equalization and removal of solids and removal of rags, non-flushables and grit. And then the back end is filtration into the surface, into the ground, into the water. That's on us. That's 2 parts. They just got the middle component. And so we'll dig the hole, they'll set it in.
When will that component be available to be done? What's the guesstimate on that time frame? Are they going to manufacture it in this country, or is it going to be shipped over from China?
It'll be manufactured over in China and shipped from China, and I don't have a shipping, I'll have
Okay,
to
so
get
now
that.
you're talking probably a year time lag.
Maybe,
Is there another name?
JDL.
JDL Enterprises does plastic injection molding company.
It's JDL,
JDL
JDL.
Enterprises.
yes. I don't
I'm
have
not
anything with me.
finding that name that indicates a standalone sewer plant.
JDL is a corporation, so let me see if I can find something for you. JDL.
JDL Environmental Protection Company.
JDL.
Environmental
Enterprises.
Protection Company.
Okay.
If that doesn't pop up,
It's funny because there it is. Let me think. That's it. It's actually JIANGXI, and then JDL Environmental
JDL
Protection.
Environmental Protection.
That's who they are. And they're huge in Europe, you know, all of Europe, they're huge. They just do quite a bit. America because the technology is so cutting edge, engineers do not want to change the way they do things to something else.
They can't build for it that much.
They just can't do it, because they just can't do it. They just rather not. To get an engineer firm to spec it's like, oh, no, we're good. We use the traditional, you know, activated sludge, the big deep holes, the 55-acre spreads, that's what we do.
Okay.
So anyways, that's where we are with it, Jim. But once I get to that point, then cost becomes an issue. Like I figure we're going to.
Well, I understand that. I mean, but right now, costs don't even become an issue because you don't know what it's going to cost to get it over here, so they don't have a basis to run off of at the moment.
Once we get to the point that we're ready, all that will fall into place.
Exactly.
Time frame. So one of the things I'm doing is we're waiting for a meeting with the Bliss Foundation for a piece of property. I'm also meeting with some developers that are talking about workforce housing. And we may want to piggyback and do a workforce housing project so they can tie into the sewer system too and continue to do what we're doing.
Does that count as low income?
Well, it is in a sense for the workers that cannot afford to work in the town they work in.
So would that count to our low income housing?
No, I doubt it,
Stock.
because these are rentals. This is a program put on by the governor, because most people that work in most communities, workers, can't afford to live in their community. So they have this program called workforce houses, so people that work in the communities can rent these houses at a lower rate so they can afford to live in the very communities they work in. So we're looking at that. I'm trying to find something elderly, but there's no programs for the state right now for elderly housing, so I'd like to do that too. And then, of course, we want to put an elderly park. So all this is going to be in this development, so the more players, and my thoughts here is if I can get more private companies to get involved, they pay their share and they help pay our share, and then it becomes more palatable for everybody. So I'm trying to get these
First
partners.
we've got to get more answers from them on when they can and when they
Well,
will
that's-
and when they have it and the rest before you can,
That's the backside of it, yes.
Yeah.
Once I get something,
yeah, that's what.
Realistic,
Well, that's
then
why I
I'll
wanted to know where we
get
were
those
at with
numbers.
this, at this
oh yeah,
particular point.
they're going to do a presentation for the Bliss Foundation. We're waiting for them to get on their agenda. We'll do all that, and then we'll wait. If they approve it, the Bliss Foundation, they think it's a worthy cause,
Yeah.
then we'll move it forward.
Okay, we've still got the sump pump issue, and we've still got homes being connected
What
to the
is
sewer.
happening with the grinders in Swiss Beach?
They're grinding away.
They're installed?
No, we ain't got close. I got to pay for them.
They're not even ordered yet.
Before I come,
Not even ordered yet?
before I get there, I have to come here. We have to figure out how we're going to finance them, so I'm not even there. We got to finance. We got to find about $2.3 million. So that's going to be a separate item. That's going to be a budget issue. We'll talk about that at the budget time. But the engineers are busy at work. We got JC Engineering doing all the, and they've been backed up too. They're just backed up like crazy. And they started this project back in the summer, early summer, and they thought they'd be done by September, and they're still out a little bit. So everybody is having their issues. Once they're done, then we'll start the designing. I met with E1, who will do their design. I'll send him all the information he needs. They'll do their design that we'll probably stick to or use, and have our engineer use that to cut the cost for the engineering. So all that's it. We're doing all that. And then we'll have a few meetings. I talked to some residents today. I'm in there pumping weekly, and it's driving people crazy. We have backups, and I don't want to pollute the beach. So that's costing me a little bit of money, and we jet rod it. We have a company coming, a very fine one. They do that probably every 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and that's costing us $3,000 every time they come out. So there's a lot of issues in One Kinko. And
Only money.
A lot of money. And I explained to the folks today about the, about the sump pumps, and they says, well, you know, some people don't really care. I said, well, the irony is that the few people that don't care, we all have to pay for.
Right.
That's the irony. We all have to pay for them. And so you can't convince people to do the right thing, and there's always that group that say, well, I don't care, but the cost becomes bore by everybody. It's distributed amongst all users, not just the people that don't pay attention. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I sat on my glasses.
All right. Any new business? Anything that we haven't played with? Yes?
What?
You looked like you had something that you were going
I'm
to...
just, no, I'm fine.
Has anybody been out and saw the project? We're pouring the last two. We've got 4 sections of the basin poured, the concrete. We're pouring 2 more tomorrow. We've got the sheathing in for the filters. That's going to be a 22-foot dig. Really interesting. I've had 2 tours with the kids from Upper Cape, juniors and seniors, and they were just excited. We're also starting the co-op program. I'm hoping to get operators through them, but we're starting the co-op program once again, second half of the year. So we're pretty excited about the things that are going on at the plant, and I really suggest if you guys have a chance to come down and see the project, the construction project, because it's really interesting. It's really interesting what they're doing out
It
there.
is. Very much so. Okay. Anybody no new business? Okay, the next thing we have is, oh yeah, we have Donna.
Yes. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the time at the gong for adjournment is 7:26.